I'm going to show you how to make money on Bitcoin. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is one of the most exciting places to make a killing, and relatively quickly. You just need to know how to do it and how not to lose, because you can lose fast here. Let me show you how to make some money. So when we look at Bitcoin, this has had a very interesting history, especially if you just date it back to 2019. You look back and you had these very, very big swings up to, well, I remember when I first heard about this, it was back here in 2018, it was around 20,000. Of course, during COVID, it went near 60,000, and now it's about 70,000, 71,000. There is ways to make money on this, even though you have these massive swings that dip more than 50% each direction. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing that I want to say is I like to look at this from a swing trading and day trading perspective. And the main reason that I like to do that, remember, we're not investing here. We're not buying something and sitting and waiting. We're trying to capitalize on these small gains that we can build up and compound on over time. So if I'm looking at this from a swing trading perspective, I'm going to pull up my chart here. It follows exactly the same rules as if you're just looking at a stock. So one big thing that I think is important for me to say is no matter what I'm looking at, whether it's a stock like Nvidia or Apple, or a cryptocurrency, or a commodity like gold, I don't care what the ticker is. It looks exactly the same on the chart. You notice here, we have the 25-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, the 100 and the 200. We have our volume, we have our trend down here, and look what it's doing right now. It's just tracking along this 25-day moving average, not dropping below it very significantly, not going above it. It's just kind of hugging it right now. So that's something that I want to pay attention to. But how do I go about this right now? Well, there's a couple of things here. Number one, let's just draw some lines. Let's draw some resistance lines. We talk about these all the time. When you have resistance, it's difficult to push through that top side. Not impossible, but difficult. What do you need? You need volume. And if I look at Bitcoin and what's been going on specifically with Bitcoin, we don't have a lot of volume over the past 3 to 4 weeks. We had it previously. Look how, when you saw Bitcoin stock price kind of skyrocket here, what did you notice? What was different when you had this trajectory versus this sideways trajectory? Well, it was a lot more volume than the volume that you're having down here. So the thing I'm really wanting to point out here, it's the same thing as a stock. So don't be afraid if you've never traded a cryptocurrency before to shy away from it. Just follow the same type of rules. We are looking for our trend moving nicely through the sweet spot, trying to get this up into this overbought area, trying to capitalize. But you notice we still have the wick on this candle. It's just really struggling to break through this resistance level. So if it's me right now, I'm saying, all right, I want to see several days of big green volume bars pushing this thing up, breaking through this resistance level that's being created. Okay. Now, when we go to Ether, Ether's another one. It's a lot cheaper. You can get this thing for 5 cents. Maybe it's a little bit more possible for you to buy. If you go back here to Bitcoin, it's almost $72,000. Now, of course, you can find ETFs, you can find shares that are cheaper that kind of track Bitcoin, but if you really want to buy Bitcoin, it's about $72,000 that you're going to have to put out. With Ether, it's about 5 cents. And it is a different type of trajectory. It's coming down right now overall, but it's affordable, and we don't really care where the price is. We care about the direction and the trend that things are moving. So if we look at this, this is on the other side of the 25-day moving average, trending down. But right now, something I notice is that the volume here is doing what over the last 2 days? Well, it's starting to increase. And with that increasing volume, what comes? Well, our trend is just creeping towards the sweet spot. So hopefully this yellow line gets in the sweet spot here, and you kind of push through this 25-day moving average. And if you get through the 25-day moving average with Ether, you're going to be able to push up to this 50-day moving average. That is going to be a fantastic profit for you. And not only a fantastic profit, but a great trade to get yourself comfortable with trading Ether. Now, if we run over to Doge, let's look at Doge. Doge is a similar situation as Bitcoin, running above the 25-day moving average, and it's kind of running into that same resistance point. Same resistance point. Volume, it's okay. It's weaker than it was the past several weeks. And what happened the past several weeks? Well, the stock price the crypto price ran up to these highs of 22 cents, coming all the way down from here from 10, 11 cents. Now, another way of going about this, of course, is to day trade it. If you don't want to sit in it for a couple of days, 5 days, 6 days, you can come over here and day trade it. And the great thing about crypto, especially when it's in the news big time, especially when, well, that's really what drives the volume. I was going to say, especially when you have volume, it's basically news driven. You can find fantastic trades. And the other great thing about this is with a stock, it's open from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time and it closes at 4 p.m. With Bitcoin, with Ether, with Doge, any cryptocurrency, it's 24/7. So no matter where you are in the world, you can go and trade this thing. No matter what time it is, you can go and trade this thing. So if you want to trade in the middle of the night because you can't sleep and you're in New York City, go for it. If you're somewhere in Switzerland and you just can't sync up with the schedule here in the United States stock market, you can trade at any time. That's the great thing about it. So if I'm looking at Bitcoin, it goes for its runs. And of course, because the volume has been so weak the past couple of weeks, we really have to scroll back and go several days back. And that's when you start seeing these big movement swings. But you notice right here, it was kind of dead on Sunday. It was kind of dead on Saturday because there's no volume. I think it's great to show that on weekends, it's relatively dead. And here on Monday, what happened? Well, it spiked back up. Why? Because most people that trade are going to be trading during normal market hours, even though it's a cryptocurrency. So just be aware of that when the volume is going to be cycling in. But you had a beautiful trend here. Stochastic broke into that sweet spot area above 80%. You look for what? Volume, increasing volume, and your multiple engulfing candlesticks that you've had. And then, of course, it cycled back down. You exited back in here. Your volume dropped down. It's the same thing as trading a stock. Now, I understand that this can be challenging or draining for you emotionally, saying, oh my gosh, I can barely think about trading a Google stock. How am I supposed to go in and trade something that is always ticking and that there's so many people that are involved in it? There's Reddit forums that are involved in it. It's just so chaotic. Well, that's what I'm here for. That's what the other people in the community are here for. I have a Patreon, $25. It's only limited to 100 spots right now. So join it. You get lifetime access for $25 a month. You can get direct access to me, get access to my live streams where we do trade cryptocurrencies when they're advantageous to trade. Join it right now. You're going to love it. But there's one more thing that I want to show you guys with crypto. And I'm just going to go back to my weekly chart and I'm going to zoom it way out. And I'm specifically going to go to Bitcoin. Now, I'm noticing a pattern here on Bitcoin where we're just going to do the high level thing right now. So the price came up and it came down in here, but it came up again. And that's kind of that, there's like let's just call it an M formation right there. Not an official ticker, not an official pattern that I use, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. You came back here. You kind of had that same thing right in there. You kind of had that same thing right in there, right in here. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. It's just something to pay attention to. Pay attention. Maybe you can find some type of short here. But it seems like every time it gets this kind of M, what happens? Well, the price drastically falls. And it rebounds, but it drastically falls. Take advantage of these falling prices. If you can short it, short it. Why wouldn't you? You can make a ton of money to the downside. And the great thing about cryptos is that when they fall hard and fast. Now they go up really hard and fast, but when they fall hard and fast. And that's the opportunity that we're looking for right now with Bitcoin. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about trading cryptocurrencies. It really comes down to personal preference. So go watch this next video here. It's on the one and only trading strategy that you will ever need.